Okay. When you're ready.
My name is Tjuppuru and I'm a didgeridoo bone performer. Since 2001 I've been visiting and performing in primary schools, high schools, universities, all throughout Australia and internationally. The whole show is about children learning, enjoying and interacting with anything to do with music.
It's like this.
This was the part that really hooked the kids. The good old guitar distortion, you know? The school thing that I do has got me through the door, because all of a sudden I'm not talking about Indigenous issues. We're doing this school, and then it was through the music teachers that thought, well, you should come and show that to our kids. And then the show was then developed around different songs that the kids could interact with.
I think I speak for most Aboriginal or Indigenous people here, is there's always been a brick wall or a high fence that we've had to climb just to match it or match it with the white people who took over this place. A lot of the towns have this race problem, which goes back to whenever those towns got developed and got set up. Most of these rural areas got set up for farming needs or whatever, but most of any Aboriginal people who were there originally got moved off the land and shoved in the reservation and all killed. And that's how these towns were to this day, that's how they're set up. And so if you can imagine, 5, 6 generations now of trouble that's been out there, and nothing really has been fixed. For me, unless we go out there as musicians or artists of some sort, we can actually do something that an everyday teacher in front of them can't help with, kind of thing. That importance there is already something that, gives me more reason to keep going out there, kind of thing. The last thing you want is to have the problems that occurred, that our parents had these problems because of the race issues and that. And our job is to fix whatever we can. Sums up what position I have here. And the thing with visiting schools for me isn't about whether we visit a super rich private school or a bush little town with only 10 kids. For me, the importance is a lot of these big super rich schools that exist. Because there's usually a lack of Aboriginal children or Aboriginal kids there, up until they go to universities and grow up to be adults, these kids usually will totally miss out on any sort of connection with Indigenous peoples. We usually go in there and rock and roll for a few days or however long it's going to take us to be there, and then off to the next sort of town kind of thing. For next year, I've got probably 3 terms that I'll be actually visiting schools. So, and when I do a term, we're talking average 25, 30,000 kids, 50 schools, because we're pretty much musicians, playing music with kids and getting them to jump up on stage with us or whatever it is. If we continue to use it, it'll break all sorts of barriers down, and it doesn't matter how many government meetings that people can have about solving social issues. You bring in someone with a guitar and a song, and everyone discussing the thing will stop and listen, and some tap their feet to it, and then all of a sudden a bit of common sense happens. So yeah, for sure. And if we can keep making the music, man, well, let's do it.